Okay, we'll start with this. An update on the combat career of veteran fighter Kenya Enriquez of Mexico. Combat Global announced they've signed WBC interim flyweight champion Kenya Enriquez to an exclusive multi-fight contract. The Mexican Queen made her MMA debut last March and defeated Hailey Valentine via a unanimous decision. Kenya will return to action on Thursday, July 17th against Hannah. This is not the momentous news. The good news that it appears that Kenya Enriquez is delving into the world of mixed martial arts and is headed to her second fight as an MMA fighter when by all rights she should be boxing. She's got the experience, she's got the talent, she's got the WBC interim title for the second time at a second weight. What this is really about is how boxing has failed Kenya Enriquez to the point that she is now crossing over into mixed martial arts. You will remember that fighters like Ava Knight, Heather Hardy, Amanda Serrano for a time, Clarissa Shields for a time, crossed over into mixed martial arts on the premise that boxing wasn't paying them what they needed to be paid. Wasn't pushing them, wasn't promoting them or their fights. Now it's Kenya. Kenya was last in action over a year ago. In February of last year, she won a unanimous decision against Maria Salinas. And get a whiff of this, that she was already interim champion going into that fight over a year ago, that Kenya has been WBC interim flyweight champion since September of 2023, close to 2 years ago, and close to 2 years later, the WBC has still not ordered the fight between her and the WBC champion. Sporting a professional record of 28 wins with 1 loss, no draws, 11 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 29 professional bouts. Kenya Enriquez crossing over into mixed martial arts is a byproduct of a sport that has failed her and a sanctioning body that doesn't want to do its job, because this is the second time this has happened. Both times it was the WBC. Years ago, in the light flyweight division, Kenya Enriquez was WBC interim champion the same way she is now, and the WBC left her in limbo for years and years, not ordering the fight between her and Yesenia Gomez, the then WBC champion. They never ordered that fight. Likely because Mauricio, the president of the WBC, and Pepe Gomez are good buddies. Pepe promoted Yesenia, so it would seem that Mauricio held off on ordering that fight to protect his friend's fighter. It never got ordered. It never happened. Years later, Kenya decided to move up in weight, move up to flyweight. She fights a former champion in Beth Zamora Silva, becomes WBC interim champion at a second weight. Same deal. From the time that Kenya becomes WBC interim champion till now, the WBC title, the full one, has changed hands at least 2 times. It went from Marlon Esparza to Gabriela Alanis, and from Gabriela Alanis to Gabriela Fundora. All without WBC ordering the fight between Kenya Enriquez and those champions. And close to 2 years later, there doesn't seem to be an ETA on that, to the point where Kenya has had to go to a completely different sport. And it's wrong, because while all of this is going on, they've afforded so many other fighters so many opportunities. Consider that Badu Jack sat inactive for about 2 years after vacating his cruiserweight title, and from then till now, they gave him the chance to win it back. Consider that after Chris Billum Smith lost in lopsided fashion to Zurdo Ramirez, the World Boxing Council stated they would be happy to give Chris a crack at the apple, a shot at their title. And not just him, Jake Paul too. So it would seem that the World Boxing Council is too busy affording opportunities to fighters that don't deserve them to afford that same opportunity to at least one fighter that does, and that's the second time that's happened. The WBC is a goddamn joke. It's a joke organization. To this day, I don't know why fighters choose to go that route when this is what could happen. You can fight in all of their eliminators, procure their trinket titles, their regional, their interim, just so that when you're finally on the cusp of your title shot, they can leave you in limbo, and they can leave you in limbo for years. Kenya having to go to MMA is not good news. That's not a good thing. Maybe it's helping her make ends meet. But she shouldn't have to go to MMA to make ends meet. Not with the renaissance of women's boxing, not with her being WBC interim champion not once but twice. She shouldn't have to. This is bullshit. In men's lightweight news, on the heels of his first round knockout of former champion Tevin Farmer, Floyd Schofield is moving up the WBA's rankings and is on course to become Gervonta Davis's mandatory challenger. There's been a lot of talk about Floyd Schofield and Shakur Stevenson, but what about Floyd Schofield versus Gervonta Davis? As you can imagine, Floyd Schofield's talkative father didn't waste any time before he started talking about it, a fight between them.
Floyd will stop Tank. That's why they won't choose us. That's why they're retiring. Floyd will stop Tank. We already know it. We watched Tank get stopped plenty of times again. It's not new. He's not invincible.
Not invincible. He said that Floyd has the power to change the division without question.
Yeah. All them champions know. Ask all of them. I've been saying over 2 years now that's the greatest boxer of all time. Not one of them champions that he get them ready for their fight said he's lying. But it's Devin Haney, Jojo Diaz, Adrian Broner, Shakur Stevens, Tank Davis. None of them came out and said it's Pop lying. But everybody else say, oh, it's Pop crazy. I ain't that crazy.
Boisterous claims from Floyd Schofield Sr. saying not only have they seen Gervonta Davis get stopped before, in a gym setting I would imagine, but that Floyd would stop him. It's quite a leap. You think maybe he's getting carried away? He might. It's one thing to stop Tevin Farmer, who going into that fight with Floyd already had 8 losses and he'd already been stopped at least once many years ago by Jose Pedraza. It's not like Floyd Schofield's the only one who ever knocked him out. It's quite a leap from stopping Tevin Farmer to suggesting that you would also stop Gervonta Davis. Still, it's all expected and tell them age. This is what we expect from Floyd's father, after all. This kind of a reaction. But as Floyd Schofield climbs up those ranks, this is becoming more and more of a conversation. Davis versus Schofield.
Fight I wouldn't mind seeing would be the winner of Tank and Lamont Roach against Kid Austin.
Come on, man. Let's stop the cat. Yo, listen. How many years has Tank been pro?
That's a good question.
And he's giving you one fight you asked for.
I didn't even ask for the Ryan fight, if that's what you're asking.
No, you can't do that. He was one of the 4 kings. Any of the 4 he would have chose is what we asked for.
Legit fight that he had that I actually was at was the Jose Pedraza fight. No,
we didn't
you're right.
ask for that, though. We talking about like
we definitely didn't ask for Lamont Roach.
Nemesis. He never fought Gary Russell. That was his nemesis. He never fought Tevin Farmer. That was his nemesis. He never fought Lomachenko. That was his nemesis. He never fought Devin Haney. That was his nemesis. He never fought Shakur. That was his nemesis. He never fought Tio. That was his nemesis. Bro, y'all gotta stop bringing this dude up talking about real boxing, man. Like Jake Paul just said he about to fight Tank. Let's talk about real boxing.
I think that Nestor Gibbs hit the nail on the head. No matter what Floyd Schofield's rank or where the WBA might have him versus Gervonta Davis is not realistic for a good number of reasons. How many other fighters' names were attached to a potential Gervonta Davis fight that did not happen? Floyd's name would just be another. I remember that Gervonta Davis started off this year by saying that this might be the final year of his boxing career, and if not for the snafu with Lamont Roach, he was going to go straight into a Jake Paul fight. Imagine what kind of money he would have made from that fight. Enough to retire on. I figure that whenever this rematch with Lamont Roach happens, if Gervonta Davis wins after that, he'll revisit talks for the Jake Paul exhibition, and he'll move into that Floyd Schofield is not a priority, and he's not on Gervonta Davis's radar, irrespective of where the WBA ranks him. That is the mundane, ho-hum reality. No matter what eliminators he fights in or what his rank is, in all likelihood, Floyd Schofield will never get the chance to box Gervonta Davis. What he can do is bide his time and hold his position long enough that maybe he'll see himself elevated to full WBA champion when the time comes. That can happen, so long as he can make the weight, keep fighting, and keep winning, knocking out Tevin Farmer as abruptly as he did, taking minimal to no damage in the fight. Floyd can move right into another one and another one with what remains of this year. He's got time, and he's making waves, small ripples here and there, establishing himself as one to watch in the lightweight division. He can do that, but he won't get a Gervonta Davis fight. That's not gonna happen. Anticlimactic, I know, but thus is the American boxing scene. It is becoming increasingly difficult to get two American nationals, two somebodies, to box each other. Two unbeaten ones. Don't hold your breath for this one.
What's up? It's your boy, Big Baby Miller here. I'm trying to sleep, getting tagged on a bunch of shit.
In the ring has people talking. Big Baby Miller already talking smack, talking about, he's like, I want that fight after you get through this return fight.
Yeah.
He wants a piece. He's talking about he'll smash you. I'm like, what do you think when you hear stuff like that?
The only thing he's smashing is burgers. You know, he barely do that well. You know what I mean? And, you know, with him, that's it. It's all talk. But if that fight lands for him, I can't wait for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if it lands for him, then I hope he already paid for his grave burial. I mean, because I don't play around with him. If I saw him today, I'll slap the fuck out of him right now. You know what I mean? I ain't playing around with nobody. Deontay Wilder.
Listen to me. Deontay would never, ever slap me. Let's get that through your mind. This motherfucker see me, he walk across the street. Now, he will slap bitches around, though. We know that. But I had a long conversation with my old friend, Telly. You know, her fine ass. I understand she didn't want to piss on you, nigga, and you would slap her around a little bit and all that. But you never, ever in your life would ever put hands on me. The best way and your best chances, let's get in that ring. Let's make it happen. Turkey, line his ass up. I'm tired of his ugly ass. You stuttering Alabama duck sauce, trash talking, worse than 10 bags of dog shit. Boy, you is finito. So if you really want to talk that shit, nigga, hop in that ring. You still a bitch.
I wouldn't mind that fight at all. In fact, I suggested it myself a few days ago that if Deontay Wilder's not going to call it a career, if he's not going to retire, and he insists on fighting on, it can't be to keep fighting guys like Tyrell Herndon, making whatever he made for that fight. And I don't imagine it was very much. Jarrell Miller and Deontay Wilder have history. There is bad blood there. All the makings for an intriguing matchup, especially now that we don't actually know what Deontay has left, and Tyrell Herndon is not the one to tell us. I don't fault him for that fight, because he needed a fight like that. He needed to get some rounds in. He hadn't fought in over a year, but now moving forward, things have to be more serious. Jarrell Miller is a more serious threat to Deontay Wilder. That is a more serious fight than a Tyrell Herndon fight. Does Wilder win? Oh, I'm sure that a couple of years ago, most people would have went with Deontay to stop Jarrell Miller. Most people would have picked him to knock Jarrell out. But today, in the Tyrell Herndon fight, the right hand of Deontay Wilder did not seem as punishing or devastating as it had in previous years. Stylistically, Jarrell Miller presents an uncomfortable fight for Deontay Wilder because Jarrell Miller is a rather heavy-set pressure fighter that if you can't shake and bake this guy, if you can't keep him off, he's gonna be all over you like a cheap suit. 300 plus pounds. You remember how it was that Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder? It was by stepping to him, crowding him, and bullying him from the inside out. That's what Jarrell Miller would try to do. So could Deontay Wilder hold him back? Hold him off? Deontay was said to have weighed in approximately 225 pounds for the Tyrell Herndon fight. He was never the heaviest of heavyweights. He's always been very long and limber and lean and uncoordinated. See, that's the real problem, that Deontay Wilder has never really had the footwork for an assignment like this. Some would argue that he's had the power. If he can catch Jarrell Miller coming in, might be able to knock him out. Since working around him is not an option. Deontay doesn't have the ring savvy, the ring craft, the footwork to work around a heavyset fighter like a Jarrell Miller. But if he can catch him coming in, maybe he would have had a shot to stop him years ago, but I don't know about now. The right-handed Deontay Wilder is not what it used to be, and if he can't keep this guy off of him, Jarrell Miller might do to Deontay what Tyson Fury did to Deontay. It's not a bad fight. The issue is that the fight is not so hot a ticket here in America that it would pay for itself. No, Jarrell Miller's going to want a lot of money for that fight. So would Deontay Wilder. His celebrity is not what it was. Not fighting in some shoebox against a nobody in Wichita, Kansas on Black Prime. Nope. This fight's only hope of being made is Turki El Sheikh financing it, because outside of that, it doesn't happen. It doesn't go down. Now, Turki El Sheikh does have a good number of shows he's putting together for the coming months. Something that's supposed to go down in August, another show in November. Maybe he would decide to include this fight on the undercard of one of those shows. Maybe.
Big hungry.
Turkey doesn't. Jarrell Miller's going to be shit out of luck because Deontay's got other options not exclusive to Jarrell Miller. He could look to settle up with Dillian White, Derek Chisora, Anthony Joshua.
Big hungry.
Jarrell Miller has already been afforded a good number of opportunities that, for whatever reason, fell through. He doesn't have a lot of options at this point, but Deontay, he's got one or some that he can explore. That fighting Jarrell Miller is not his only option. It's a good fight, but I don't know if it happens, and I don't know that Wilder wins. If Deontay Wilder struggled to hold back Joseph Parker, a far more moderately sized heavyweight, than Big Gravy. How's he gonna hold back Jarrell? I remember a time when the mere suggestion that a Jarrell Miller might be all wrong for Deontay would have seemed like a hot take, a blasphemy. You're crazy. Here today, it's not outside the realm of possibility that Jarrell Miller might wear down and wear out a 39-year-old Deontay Wilder whose right hand is not quite the money punch that it used to be. He spent a lot of time talking about nagging injuries in the buildup of the Tyrell Herndon fight and the 2 surgeries that he had to his shoulder. Corrective surgeries that were intended to alleviate the constant pain that he was under. I happen to think those corrective surgeries may have taken something off of that right hand, that he can't throw it with the same conviction that he used to. And if not the surgery, it's the psychology of the fighter. Those 2 losses to Tyson Fury deeply affected Wilder's sense of self and his psychology, that maybe that's the reason he can't throw the right hand with the same belief and the same conviction that he used to. And perhaps the right hand was overrated anyway. It's power overstated. There's a lot of ways to look at that, a lot of ways to slice it up. But if they made the fight, I'd watch it. I could go for Deontay Wilder versus Jarrell Miller.